Welcome to the earthvox podcast. The earthvox podcast. earthvox podcast.
Well, that was a little bit of an impromptu start. That's okay, we nailed it. The audio issue should finally be fixed. It inexplicably reared its head last week after an attempted repair. Welcome to the show. Please take a moment to hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, leave a review. Help me out. I need help with the marketing. I'm maxed out on the research, on the technical issues, on pulling it off to begin with. It's a lot of work, so help me out for free, please. Or point me in the right direction. You know somebody that can help me with my marketing issues. I mean, it's not even really an issue. It's just a position that needs to be filled. And no budget, by the way. Moving on. Thank you again for joining. The world changed a lot last week. It started with a woman being senselessly murdered on a train. And it ended or began with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the conspiracy theories are already flying, not surprisingly. I mean, mere hours after the event took place, we're already discussing the inconsistencies, and that's not what this show will be about. There's not enough information available yet to get into the conspiracy theories, the inconsistencies. I don't have a position to take on those details because there's too much coming out. These people have developed conspiracy theories and will now ignore all of the conflicting evidence that doesn't coincide with their conspiracy theory. Today's show will be about Charlie, about who he was, about his perspectives, because I wasn't a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I tried listening to his podcast a few times. Clearly, he was not a podcaster. He was something else. He went on tour around the country, around the world, and spoke his message directly to students. He had a message of Christianity, conservatism, morality. And maybe that's why it's so painful that he's gone. I shed a lot of tears. Deleted a lot of clips that make me want to cry. Because I think that's the last thing that he would want, is for us to spend a lot of time grieving. Because the work that he was doing was so urgent. And it falls on all of us now to pick up the microphone, because they can't kill all of us. And we can't be afraid. Here's a compilation released recently by TPUSA that will kick us off. TPUSA, of course, was the company, the activist organization that he founded.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard. I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really America's the greatest country in the history of the world. Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win. We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We are all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus. But no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children.
That's his daughter running to him as he's on set preparing to do an interview with Fox and Friends.
And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what.
You are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You wanna learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
Why is it so sad? Why has it affected all of us so deeply? Important people die all the time. This was a tragedy. He was assassinated. He was 31. He had 2 kids. I just can't explain how I felt so affected, so robbed, so wronged. Could it be the media narrative? The responses, of course, have been nauseating from the left, as I think we could all expect. I also don't think that they're very sincere. I think people don't realize that the message coming from the left, the same place that the assassin came from, don't believe that he was a MAGA kid. I think we'll talk about all of this next week. I just found it strange within myself that it was so heartbreaking that someone that I didn't really know, didn't really follow, never met before, although I would consider him a colleague, given that we're both sort of operating in the same space. Here's his message to a 13-year-old girl that unfortunately has been bastardized by many on the left, or I mean, on the right. Is this the right one? No. I got too many tabs open. It's this one. So they took this clip of a 13-year-old girl asking a question to Charlie Kirk and put a score behind it and made it a big presentation. But it's the content of the question and the interaction between the two that I think really demonstrates what kind of a person Charlie Kirk was, and that's what we're doing today.
What advice do you have for me as I move into adulthood in order to become a more informed and involved citizen?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, and I have hope thanks to people like you. How old are you again?
13.
13. Here's a couple things I want to encourage you to do. Learn something new every single day, and focus on what it means to be a good person and a person of strong character. Aristotle said that courage is the ultimate virtue. Without it, there are no other virtues. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty, you don't have justice, you don't have beauty, you don't have wonder. And so at age 13, I want you to commit yourself to a life of courage. Courage is doing the right thing when you don't know how it's going to work out. Courage is committing yourself to the correct course of action, regardless of the cost associated to it.
Every human being, I believe, is made in the image of the divine, is sacred, is unique. And if we get away from this principle as we have, we not only have moral degradation, we not only have the collapsing society around us, but it's bad for that being itself. That being itself is unique. That being has rights. And who are we to say, just because we're older, that we get to murder it? Thank you.
I'm trying to tell my wife it's okay that the kids are loud because I'm really just tired of it. It's one of the things that, an interesting segue. It's one of the things that Charlie Kirk understood to be very important, letting kids be kids. And he speaks to it in many of these clips that we're playing. I think many of us relate to Charlie Kirk because his message is, don't corrupt the children. And this was why he was an enemy of the left, because the goal of the left is absolutely get the kids, corrupt the kids, turn the kids into confused, violent, irrational leftists. To do things like this. There's a clip going around. I guess I could play it. Although the only really critical piece of information in this clip from one of the assassin's classmates in high school. where he designated him as basically a Reddit kid, someone who spends too much time online, being radicalized. And this is why Charlie went to college campuses, where he owned this frat boy.
You say college is a scam, so I drove 4 hours here just so I could debate you on this. I've been in school for 4 years, majoring in English, and my education means a lot to me. I've put in a lot of work to be here.
What school?
University of Utah.
Okay, cool.
And so I find it extremely disrespectful for you to say that college is a scam, not just to me, but everyone here that's also going to school.
What's your favorite Charles Dickens book?
That was like Push For, like I Come For, like that's like all around there.
No, tell me which one?
The sixth one.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Just like the one like with Bushmere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how about your favorite Jane Austen novel?
Oh, I don't know who that is. Jane Austen?
You're an English major.
Yeah. Well, it's like I Come For, so it's like
what's your favorite? I'm gonna give you another chance.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jane Austen novel?
Harry Potter.
You've been there for 4 years? Is this even real?
Well, I have one more question.
You are proving that college is indeed a scam.
Okay. Well, my dad paid a lot of money so I could go to college, and I just think.
I mean, is college a scam? Charlie Kirk didn't go to college. Charlie Kirk got out of high school and went right to work, just like I did. Just like many of us did. I feel bad for the kid, though. The scam is not go to college. The scam is take out $60,000 loans every year for 4 years until you're done with college. That's the scam. That's why they send loan officers to college campus. Hey, we can help. We can give you some money. Doesn't that sound great? Come here, bright-eyed, naive, high school students, and commit to paying back this monstrous loan for the rest of your life. Tell me that's not a scam. Oh, and pay $120 for one book for one term that your professor wrote, because that's not a racket or anything. But that clip was also appropriate because Charlie wasn't always nice, especially not to people that weren't nice to him. Does that mean he deserved to have his life ended? No, I don't think so. But it is worth mentioning. Because what we're doing here today is a memorial for Charlie Kirk. This is who he is. This is who he wanted to be. And this was the message that he was spreading. In this video, he talks to a person that claims to be trans, but I have my doubts.
You're part of the problem, I think, with the hatred on trans people. It's really not that deep. Like, if someone wants to dress up however they want, that's totally fine.
Okay, so
and I think
I'm
that's
not
where the
preventing,
hatred
Agree.
I'm not preventing you from driving.
Agree. I agree with that, by the way. I have my doubts that this person is trans because I think he just put on a dress maybe to increase his chances of getting in front of the microphone, but also to prove a point.
Yeah.
However, let me ask you a question. I will
Go
flush
ahead,
this
go
out.
ahead.
So let's pretend you say you are a woman.
Let's pretend.
I know you are a man, but I refuse to call you a woman.
Okay.
Who's the hateful one?
I would say you are. I mean, I wouldn't.
So you're
going to
force me and shame me. No, hold on a second.
Anything, man.
I'm the hateful one.
It's really just like common courtesy.
It is never common courtesy to lie. You do not become a thing just because you say it, you are the thing. And
So-
guess what? Nobody in the history of the species that was born XX or born XY and transitioned is able to change their chromosomes. Every
Yeah.
one of your cells is coded either XX or XY.
But
And
that's
it is an
where-
insult to women everywhere in this audience and across the country that's saying that you could just have wear makeup and dress like a woman, undergo surgery, that you magically become a woman. And it is the abolition of women and is the abolition of reality. And we see great unjust human suffering because of it.
This is the stance that we really have to take because of how radical the trans movement has become. But I think were Charlie and I to have a conversation today, I think he would agree with me that it's okay to dress up however you want. I believe that that's accurate. You may not agree with me. We don't have to agree on everything. But I think you should be comfortable. And I don't understand. I mean, this is why we have to push back on the movement. Because the movement says, I put on a dress. I am a woman. Even if I have a full beard. See, that doesn't make sense. If you want to have a full beard and put a dress on, knock yourself out. But why are we getting hung up on the pronouns? The pronoun movement has forced us, just common sense people, to try putting the brakes on the crazy train. Because you're not just a girl because you say you're a girl. Do you want to dress up like one? That's fine. But we all know what's going on. And it is unreasonable to ask us to deny reality in the name of your delusion. That's where the line is drawn. You do whatever kind of freaky things you want to do, but keep it away from my kids and keep it out of my mouth. And this is why they say he was killed. The assassin apparently had a trans boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. As
You're
part of
the
his
problem, I
journey
think.
down the path of radicalization. Do you think it was hateful? I don't think it was hateful. In fact, I think Charlie did a good job meting out his aggression to match the aggression of the people that he was speaking to. He addressed a gay conservative, and the conversation was very pleasant and heartwarming.
I'm a gay conservative, and I just want to ask you, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual
No,
attractions.
I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
For sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle. But politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
thank you. I'm a
Because, like, when did we have to be public about everything that we do? Hey, everybody, this weird, freaky shit that I do in the bedroom, that's now all of your business, and you have to validate me. You have to agree with it. And if you don't, if you aren't willing to participate in it, then you're a bigot. Then you're a hateful person. Oh, and you also have to let me tell your kids about it. Like, that is no common sense, grounded person's perspective or course of action on anything. Some things need to be private and should be kept private. And just because they're private doesn't mean that you have to be ashamed about them. What is this disconnect between the private things that I enjoy and everything else that should be made public? I don't have to validate the weird shit that you do because I don't need to know about it. That can be private. I think the movement to make everyone aware of your weird, depraved things that you like to do has to do with the fact that you feel guilty about the weird, depraved things that you like to do. And you get some kind of weird satisfaction from joining this movement that says, oh, you don't have to feel guilty about anything. You can be as depraved as you want in front of everyone and their kids, and anyone that doesn't appreciate it is a bigot. It really does seem like it's all about the kids, doesn't it? Oh, whoops. Wait. I know I already played this one, but I don't know if I clicked on the same. Oh, yeah, I got out of place. My bad. It'll never happen again, I promise. It'll happen again. Here he is on the whatever podcast, I believe it's called, for obvious reasons, spreading his message of family values.
And I can tell you, I'm super blessed. I have the best wife in the world. We have an amazing life. Building a family is the coolest thing ever. And my prayer for all of you is that you one day can do that.
That's so cute.
It's honestly the most joyful thing. And I've had some pretty amazing experiences. I've been very, very blessed, very lucky, you could say, but very blessed as.
I mean, this clip's about half over. I should have just waited for it to end, but why do they have to be? Imagine if someone on the right was so rude and disrespectful while they were stating their position and their preferences and their morality. Oh, that's so cute. This is why it's never going to work. It's never going to work when the attitude from the left is, you have to validate everything that I believe, but I will completely dismiss and degrade everything that you believe. That's not how civil relationships work. That's the kind of position you take when you hate your opponent. These are the people that we're supposed to share the country with. They're supposed to share the country with us. And by the way, I am 100% not okay with a peaceful divorce, with carving up the country, saying, oh yeah, the wacko trannies can have this state and that state and this region. And we're not going to cede territory because they think that they can conquer us. They think that they can be violent, they can be irreverent, they can disregard everything that we believe in, and that we will just go away. Not going to happen.
Full thing. And I've had some pretty amazing experiences. I've been very, very blessed, very lucky, you could say, but very blessed is the word I would use. And the greatest joy I've ever had is coming home to my little daughter running up to my leg. There's nothing that even comes close to it. Not flying on Air Force One, not meeting with presidents. That's all that pales in comparison to your little girl coming up and squeezing your leg.
Hard agree.
And I can
Hard
tell
agree. And he's making progress. He's making progress with them because he's not unreasonable. He's not hateful. He believes wholeheartedly in his message. And how could you not? How could you disagree with that? This is why they wanted him dead. Because he had a message no reasonable person could disagree with. Well, maybe this one. I mean, it's a reasonable connection to make. This is the connection that I also make. Oh, crap. Damn it, you guys. I'm not sharing this. Ass.
Black people are only 13% of the population, yet they commit 55% of the murders. Why?
Because Black people tend to be in lower economic statuses because of
Okay, no, this is
CRT.
fine. This is great.
Basically.
So you think that poverty equals crime?
I also believe this.
I think that it's highly correlated, and there's a lot of studies
This is where
on
we
that.
disagree. What an insult to the working poor
So
of this
why
country.
do you think Black people commit more
Well,
crime,
first
Charlie
of all,
Kirk?
so how? Let me ask you a question as
No,
my
answer it. Go on.
What percentage of blacks have a father around when they're raised?
I'm not sure.
20%.
So that's why you
80% of
think it is.
blacks do not have a stable father around. It is the most predictable way to end up in prison, end up as a murderer or a criminal.
And why
It's
do
not a
you think that's
racism
a problem?
It's not a white supremacy problem. It's a fact that black fathers impregnate women and they don't stay around with the women
And
that they have
why-
impregnated.
Charlie Kirk, do you think that
Is-
that happens more in the Black community compared to
On-
others?
It's threefold. Number one, we subsidize single motherhood. Number two, it's culture. It's accepted in the black community, and it
so
shouldn't
it's
be.
culture. Okay.
Don't take my
I
word
see.
for it. Read Thomas Sowell's own book on how black culture allows single motherhood to continue into a nanny state type practice. 70.
I feel like this was all brought on through Vietnam as well. This is where the infrastructure for fatherless homes was laid, because so many fathers went and died in Vietnam, leaving single mothers and fatherless children. And our enemies capitalized on that infrastructure.
5% of black youth are raised without a father in the home. 75%. Is that a bigger problem or not a bigger problem than whiteness, white privilege, or white supremacy?
It's a much bigger problem. But it doesn't exist only in the black community. It's an inflammatory position by Charlie Kirk. Whether it's right to be inflamed by that position or not, I would argue that it's more inflammatory because the powers that be want more people to rely on the government. Because if you rely on the government for your livelihood, then you will vote for the people that promise to sustain your livelihood. And who are those people? Who are the ones promising to give everything to everyone all the time? It's not the conservatives. It's not Donald Trump and his administration. He thinks that people should work. And he spoke very highly of Charlie Kirk.
Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the...
Whoops, damn it. I just can't help it.
Of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
I wonder if it's been announced. I actually meant to look this up before I fired it off, but there were many other things to look up. I actually spent a lot of time trying to find an unmolested version of that 13-year-old's question to Charlie Kirk. Unsuccessfully, as you heard. Date set for Charlie Kirk's memorial this is from Fox News. But I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, what is this? FoxNews.com. What is this? September 21st. If you're checking out the video, we're streaming live on Rumble and X and YouTube and Twitch for all of your video podcast needs. This layout from this Fox News article is ass. September 21st. I'm nervous. I wonder if there has been let's see, Charlie Kirk medal ceremony. I'm nervous, as well as I imagine all of us are, about further attacks, further violence. And I think, I don't know, I'm gonna get into conspiracy theories here. But that's the point of an assassination, is it not? Strike fear into the heart of your enemies. No more gathering. No more memorials for Charlie Kirk. Fear the left. Fear the violence. No more discussions at colleges. No more discussions about terror attacks. Oh, nice. This clip is excellent. This is when Charlie Kirk went to Oxford, and he must have been agitated at some point, because he was no holds barred in this clip.
I'll give you £1,000 right now if you could tell me the U.S. citizen that was deported under Donald Trump. You said that twice. Yeah, the U.S. citizen that was deported under Donald Trump. Can anyone tell me? £1,000. I'll give it to you right now. Yeah, name? Wrong. Not a U.S. citizen. Citizen El Salvador. Anyone else? U.S. citizen deported under Trump. Nope, that was a lie. You should know better than that. You go to Oxford. So that is a correction. Number two, can you tell me, when it comes to Charlottesville, something that you said when Donald Trump said that there were people on both sides? He was actually talking about the statue debate, not what you said. So that's a hoax. That's line number two. Oh yeah, you said that somebody over here said something about Pete Hegseth being nothing more than a TV host. You should also mention that he was a service member of the military. Nope. Sorry, I'm going to talk uninterruptedly. Thank you. Service member and was a decorated war hero. Funny you didn't mention that. Oh yes, January 6th came up multiple times from, you tried your best, but from you and from the opposition. It's not an insurrection. You called them all rioters. It's funny. A small percentage of the people that were actually there on January 6th did anything violently. The vast majority walked into the Capitol building after they were invited. Also, back to your point, I certainly hope Reform and AFD wins. So I hope that it's not to teach Trump a lesson that he goes too far. We'll get to that in a second. Finally, the Donald Duck, really, like, what was that all about? What is this jar? I have no idea what you're talking about in the back of the room. It's like, it's completely lost on me. So I don't know what that's all about. Also, on the Canadian border, the professor failed to mention that the Canadian border was closed. President Trump said fentanyl, and the amount of terrorists that are coming across the Canadian border, of which the most terrorists that come into America come across the Canadian border on the terrorist watch list. You did not mention that. And finally, Professor, you never heard of it in South Africa. Interesting. You never heard of that. The fact that a major political party in South Africa says, quote, kill the Boers, kill the Boers. I would expect more of somebody who wrote a dissertation and teaches here at Oxford to say that you would not know about the attempted slaughter and genocide of white South Africans. I never went to university. I take that as a great compliment. So therefore, everyone who went to university should be able to run circles around me. You'll be the judge, but I'll do my best.
He's in hostile territory. I feel like it's appropriate to behave that way when you're in hostile territory. I just wonder, does anyone believe him? He's planting the seed. And this is why we all have to spread the truth. Not the message of conservatism, just the truth. We can have varying positions and varying perspectives, varying moral codes, varying religious doctrines. I'm not talking about opinions. I'm talking about things like the Very Fine People hoax, where he's talking about decent Americans being on both sides of the political argument, not the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists, because they should be condemned totally. This is a hoax that the mainstream media and political pundits on the left that people trust keep regurgitating over and over again. One of the most important leftist personalities is Bill Maher. And Charlie Kirk got to talk to Bill Maher too.
Drink?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You don't drink?
No.
Or smoke pot?
No.
And you're married and super Christian. We're going to get along great.
No, this is going to just be perfect.
But can I just ask you, because I want to find out a lot about you, because you're obviously a super bright guy, but you do think that I have the right to live completely opposite than you do.
I think you can get as drunk as you'd like.
And you're that kind of an American, right?
Yes,
You're not forcing your opinions as.
I'm not here to say you can't. What do you think?
No, okay. So you think pot should be legal?
That's a complicated.
Oh,
I would ask the question though, like, do you think since the legalization of marijuana in LA, it's made it a better or worse place to live, or just it hasn't changed at all?
It certainly hasn't changed my life.
Okay.
I grew up right outside here.
Do you think the quality of life has gone up or down?
Well, I don't know, but that's not really the relevant question, is it? Even if there is a deleterious effect, there is too many things we do, and we would not use that as a reason to prescribe our basic freedoms.
Should people,
be
able to do drugs?
Should people
outside, like on the street, or?
No, definitely not on the street.
Okay, so there are some limits.
Of course, there are limits. Yeah. Yes, and maybe of certain drugs, or certain drugs should be by prescription, as we do with pharmaceutical drugs. But certainly pot is more benign than alcohol. I mean, I could give you the stats on that. We all know that. Is it health food? No, I'm not crazy, but I don't think it's. Well, it's a trade-off. When you're an adult, you have the right to make trade-offs. Trade-offs is the essence of life. I'm going to have this piece of cake tonight and be a little fatter tomorrow, or I'm not going to do that and feel better tomorrow. And we all make those choices on a daily basis with everything. Yes, have I probably cut off some years of my life, maybe with pot? Who knows? I may have increased them because it helped me. Certainly made me richer. It made me better at my job, better at writing, better at a lot of things I like to do. So, I might be living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Van Nuys if it wasn't for pot, and I'm probably going to live longer Sure.
Or who knows how successful you could have been without it.
That's true too. That is true too.
So a lot of you would probably like, myself included, would probably like to hear this clip and go, it's just, he's personality mirroring, right? I learned about that from Andy on The Office. Where you go along to get along. You have a guest, you want to have a friendly conversation as the host, so you're not going to be, but Bill Maher isn't that guy. I don't know if you're familiar. He pushes back on leftists that he doesn't agree with as well. And I think Bill Maher has been a really crucial entry point into the left for purposes of spreading the common sense ideology that exists now in conservatism. Because the right has largely welcomed so many of the perspectives that have been disenfranchised because of how radically far left the Democrats have gone. To the point where people don't feel okay calling themselves a Democrat. That doesn't mean they feel better about calling themselves a conservative. But this is one of the reasons that they had to take Charlie Kirk. Because of the message he brought that destabilized the culture of the left. And here he is now, calling it out.
The spiritual battle is coming to the West, and the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, while also not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's important. We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if you're Asian, doesn't matter if you're black or white. Everybody, if you are Christian and Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, these two threats are combining forces to come after us. And it's time that the church stands and rises up against it.
Yep. Here he is at one of his college events, addressing someone who seemed perhaps to not know what Charlie was about, or was interested in goading him into some kind of verbal conflict.
Are you a Christian?
And I should mention that this guy is wearing a t-shirt with a goat pentagram on it, for whatever that's worth.
Are you a Christian?
Very, very much so.
Like, why is that exactly?
Jesus saved my life. I'm a sinner, gave my life to Christ, most important decision I ever made.
So you believe the Bible is real?
Yes, I believe the Bible is true and real.
Why is that?
Well, I could give you the technical answer. There's never been an archaeological discovery that has contradicted the truth of the Bible. And then, of course, the wisdom. There is not a truth of the Bible that if you apply to your life does not improve dramatically. And then finally, we have the most accurate and transparent, historically robust account that one can have of the most important figure ever to live in the history of the world, Jesus of Nazareth. And the resurrection is the pinpoint of my belief that Jesus did rise from the grave so that we may live.
What makes Christian mythology real?
So that's not mythology, but that is theology. If Genesis 1:1 and the resurrection is true, anything in the Bible is possible. You're looking at the greatest miracle. The greatest miracle is creation. And then the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. And I say, how do you know that Jesus rose from the dead? Well, show me another historical piece of a story where so many people willingly died a brutal death for a lie.
Every single person around him had everything to lose, and yet they went to the absolute depth, from Paul to Peter to the half-brother of James, saying that Jesus is Lord, Jesus rose from the dead. Not to mention, if you were going to fake a story, you would not use female witnesses in the ancient world. In the scriptures, it said that the women were the first one to see Jesus Christ. If you're trying to fake a story, you would never do that.
The reason this message is so threatening to the left is because the left doesn't want you to associate common sense political perspectives with Christian doctrine. And he's here again on another podcast, spreading the Christian message.
I'm just flesh and bone, but more importantly, I'm a soul. And that soul is accountable to one being. I mean, I've had an unbelievably blessed life. Been doing this now, it'll be 12 years on June 5th.
Such a young man to do it.
So young.
Yeah, so praise God. I mean, I've been all across the world. I've met with world leaders. I've flown in Air Force One, got to know a president. I have an amazing family, podcast, Turning Point USA, all that stuff. And so you experience that and you're like, what actually matters? What matters is your relationship with the divine, your relationship with your family, your kids, and maybe a close collection of friends, and your relationship with the truth. I'm just flesh and bone.
And the
but more
Democrats
important-
want to be the opposite. Do they not? It's hard to deny that conservatism is connected to Christian values. The Constitution is connected to Christian values. The men that founded the country came from Christian values. I don't know why most conservatives consider themselves to be Christian or Catholic, some form of Protestant. Maybe it's sincere, maybe it's to get votes. But the Democrats want to be the opposite. So what does that make them? And I mean, why do they have to be opposed to everything? Conservative policies don't exclusively benefit conservatives. Yet the Democrats oppose everything that conservatives want to do. Make it make sense. He went into the colleges because the colleges are the most poisonous. And interestingly, the predominant occupation of the people saying vile, hateful, celebratory things about the news of Charlie Kirk's death are teachers and college professors. I'm skipping by some of these things because some of these notes that I have, because I've already begun crafting the tone for next week's show. Next week, we're going to get in to the conspiracy theories. Next week, we're going to get into the claims. Next week, we're going to get into all of the inconsistencies. And some of the other things that weren't covered. Some of the other things that happened this week that fell by the wayside because of what happened to Charlie. Evidence of the Democrats' scumbaggery was on display in the House of Congress because Lauren Boebert requested a moment of prayer, and it's hard to hear. So listen carefully.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. 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 We will join prayer right after this, okay? What purpose is the gentlelady?
So Lauren Boebert asked that Congress say a prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family. And you heard how it went, almost gleeful in their rejection to the concept of unified prayer. And you could hear her say, silent prayers get silent results, which she also commented on this post, this X post. She calls us to lift our voices and pray for Charlie's family. I mean, the amount of supports from conservatives and the entire world has been really remarkable. Here's a throwback to Rush Limbaugh in who knows what year. I think 2014, where he talks about meeting Charlie Kirk. And I wanted to put together a compilation of the notable personalities, not all of the notable personalities that spoke out, because everyone has something to say. But I don't want you to just hear from me and from Charlie. I want you to hear from the people that knew him behind the scenes. Here's Rush.
They brought Charlie Kirk to the golf course to meet me.
Sorry, it's real
about
quiet.
A month ago. He was in town to set up this turning point thing. And they brought him to the golf course to meet me. It was we were getting ready for a 8:45 a.m. start. And they brought him out while I was getting ready to go to the range to loosen up. And I spoke with him for about a half hour. And he told me how he grew up in a home where my program was on all the time. He was just effusively complimentary to me, which I, of course, understood and told him he's very wise. His family's very wise. He chuckled. He laughed. This is the kind of guy that you can see really becoming big in politics as he gets older. He just has the courage, the personality, the charisma. You may think this sounds weird, but I remember when Bill Clinton became president, there were all of these stories about Bill Clinton at Oxford and Bill Clinton at Yale and Bill Clinton here and all these people who went to school with him. There was story after story after story where people were saying that they just knew Bill Clinton was going to be president someday. In college, he just had that kind of ambition, and he impressed people. And I'm telling you that people are saying the same things about Charlie Kirk.
I think we were robbed of a president. He had all the characteristics. He had all the qualities. We just listen.
Young men, you need to have a destination in your life. If you are on a date and a young lady says, well, what do you do? And you're like, it's a kind of meander. And I go on DraftKings and I own crypto and I don't know. And loser, instead it should be, I'm studying this because of this. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to work for this person. I want to be able to make this much money by this period of time to provide for a family. And I don't care how hard it gets, but I'll provide for you and provide for the kids. And I'll be the protector and the covering over the family. Follow me because I'm going to lead us. That's what they want to hear. They want the confidence and the security that when life gets difficult and when life starts falling apart, that man will lead them towards security and stability. Because deep down, women have a very well-built and finely tuned, God-given instinct that they'll be able to tell in a man when the bullets start firing, is this guy going to protect me and protect my kids? And is he going to provide, or is he going to run for the hills? Go look to your grandfather's generation that stormed Normandy Beach, that built this nation, that started big businesses, that went on adventure. If the most important thing for you is just feeling good, you're going to end up miserable. But if the most important thing is doing good, you will end up purposeful.
This is the exact opposite message that the evil cabal manipulating the planet wants for us. And Charlie Kirk was single-handedly leading the charge against this destructive narrative that's everywhere. It's all over the internet. It's in the colleges and universities around the world, not just in the United States. That's the kind of thing that gives men satisfaction. The right kind of man, in my opinion. And as of yesterday, I believe I put this note here in the collection. When was this? Why doesn't it have a date on it? Yesterday. From Matt at TPUSA, sent a text message to Mike Benz. Don't ask me how I got it. Oh, wait a minute. It's just, he posted it on X. No inside avenues here, folks. 18,000 new chapter requests for TPUSA. 18,000. That's a big number. 18,000 people want to start an organization in support of Charlie Kirk. And I don't want to get into conspiracies on this show, but it is something that makes me think maybe the assassin wasn't Mossad, wasn't the CIA, some rogue element of American intelligence, wasn't Russian, wasn't Chinese, because this did not accomplish stopping the movement that Charlie Kirk started. And it reminds me of this clip from a George Carlin special.
Assassination. You know what's interesting about assassination? Well, not only does it change those popularity polls in a big fucking hurry, but it's also interesting to notice who it is we assassinate. Do you ever notice who it is? Stop to think of who it is we kill. It's always people who've told us to live together in harmony and try to love one another. Jesus, Gandhi, Lincoln, John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, John Lennon. They all said, try to live together peacefully. Bam! Right in the fucking head.
Did it work in the past? I feel
Assassinate-
like it did. Stopped the movement right in its tracks. People retreated in horror, and fear, and terror. Not this time. 18,000 new chapter requests for TPUSA. I've got information on the assassin. I've got some inflammatory comments and statements from the left, from the news media. I'm saving it. As I speak now, I'm pasting it into next week's show notes. I guess it's because I feel a little bit disrespectful suggesting some of the things I felt compelled to suggest as I was putting these notes together, as all of this information was hitting me in my own grief and remorse. Today's about Charlie. Mark Levin had this to say. I've had some negative thoughts on Mark Levin, but he is still a very well-respected personality on the conservative side. And I think he's saying what a lot of people are feeling, myself included.
You piece of shit that killed him. Let me tell you something. You're going to get caught. You heard the governor of Utah. You heard him tell you that they have capital punishment. And you need to be put to death. And they need to find this guy who killed this young man, who assassinated Charlie Kirk in front of 3,000 college students. And I'm not kidding. This is an attack on our republic. People say this needs to end now. This needs to end now. Well, the only way to end it is to make an example. And enough is enough with life terms. Enough is enough with all the rest of it. This guy needs to pay the price, and the whole country needs to see it. And as for you piece of shit.
I'm compelled to believe that this was a rogue actor in a small sphere of hateful leftists that didn't really know what they were doing. And that's really all I'm going to say about it today, because I know we're going to learn more things. There are suspicious elements. I personally haven't seen enough evidence to convince me that the guy they caught is the guy that did it. Here's Eric Trump, son of Donald, also weighing in with outrage.
We've seen enough death. We've seen enough senseless killings. And Sean, let me leave it with this. I'm sick and tired of seeing the bullets. They're only going one way. Again, first it was my father. Then you saw what they tried to do to Kavanaugh. Then you saw what they did to Steve Scalise. Now they just killed Charlie Kirk. I've gotten more envelopes of white powder, as has Don, as has everybody in our entire family. When does the senseless nonsense stop? And when is there accountability from MSNBC and NBC and everybody else who just fosters this hate every single day, including today, right after that incredible man right there was killed? It's enough. We've seen enough.
How do we move forward? Because this isn't a simple story. There's a lot of elements. There's a lot of relevant events. But what I find the most interesting is that the most powerful events will be the response of the people. Because the elites could manipulate the public to react in a variety of ways. Blame it on Iran. Then you have public support for war with Iran. Blame it on Democrats. And you put tremendous public pressure on Democrats. And you probably end up with retaliation. And where does that lead? Who benefits from a civil war? I feel like the responses from these more balanced, less political, and respected personalities is really going to head off the outrage. It will unify more people in condemnation. Condemnation of this kind of behavior from the left. I increasingly believe, as more time goes by, that a very small percentage of people thought this was a good idea. Taking out Charlie Kirk was a terrible event. And it is galvanizing the right and destabilizing the left. Here's Theo Vaughn.
I think something about that makes me sick. That's what it is. I think it's made me feel sick. And I think there's other stuff, like feeling like there's like, it feels like some people in the world, like some like dark and powerful people know what's going on and they're not telling the rest of us. I think that feels like what's happening sometimes. And I don't know if I'm the only person that's feeling that. I feel like they all know something that's happening. It always feels like there's something bigger and eviler in the distance hiding behind something that's kind of laughing a little. And yeah, and this just felt like the pinnacle of the horn of whatever creature that is, kind of. Or yeah, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, and I think it's scary. It's like, yeah, it's like where is safe? Where is safe? Where is safe? How is like a dad or a parent who send their kids to school supposed to feel like they're in a safe place? It used to feel like things were safe. Or maybe it never, I don't know, maybe it never felt like that. But I don't know, it used to feel like things were safe somehow.
We need to stop the violence. The violence and the hate is only coming from one side. I'm not saying that there's no people on the right that hate people on the left, because that would just be ignorant. But the proportion is dramatically the left perpetrating violence onto the right. And you can't really deny, at least I can't, that the effort is civil war. If they can just wrong the right enough times, the ex-military, the patriots, the ones that fought for this country, the ones that had limbs blown off for this country, the ones who watched their friends die on the battlefield for this country, that will take up arms and will have a civil war. And then the United States will be cannibalized by the militaries of the foreign nations that want to see the end of the United States. But it doesn't seem like that's a reality even now. And I'm worried about further false flags and more attacks. Because the only way this country falls is if we take it down ourselves. This is Joe Rogan on his recent podcast with Charlie Sheen, hearing about the death of Charlie Kirk in real time and not being able to look into the camera, which is kind of heartbreaking.
So this just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's fucking awful.
And is he dead?
No, I don't think so.
That's what was just
because at this time it hadn't been reported. In fact, interestingly, the initial reports were that he was stable.
The guys out there just said it was
spoken
confirmed that
in
he's
the
dead.
in the lobby was just
I was looking. I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
murder for having a different opinion.
He's visibly shaken, and I'm going to back it up because you got to hear what Charlie Sheen says.
Murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Beliefs that didn't
who
align.
did it or,
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sorry.
dead?
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
According to
Fuck.
Fox News.
Jesus. 27 years old, maybe 30.
Do they even have a suspect?
I don't know. Well, that's why I don't. I'm literally trying to track it all on Twitter, and it's all.
Fuck. Nobody deserves it. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
So were you saying that MSNBC had a crazy take on it?
Mm-hmm.
What was their take?
I mean, I'm literally just reading Twitter, so I didn't see the video. I just saw people talking about tweets of it. I'll pull it up though. Let me see.
Fuck.
And even now, they could have taken it down.
It was a tweet or a video?
I'm doing the show while I'm trying to figure.
Right.
It out.
No, I understand.
I think they were live
Shut
on
up,
the air.
Jamie.
And people clipped what they were talking about. It's not a tweet. It's not on their Twitter account or anything.
So it's someone's hot take.
Live in the moment.
Yeah, that's a crazy take. Crazy take is that. What was the take that they deserved it?
That's why I didn't want to pair.
Right.
Joe Rogan knows it's wrong. I don't know what level of the left still listens to Joe Rogan now that he's been deemed far-right extremist. I don't know if I want to play this from PBD because it seems kind of conspiratorial, but we're going to go with it because I think it's important to share the perspectives of the people that hold the attention of the conservatives and the common sense moderates.
What's at the top of the list of your concerns in terms of who did it and why?
So let's process that. Let's look at all the options of who this could be. One, somebody who was just upset after the last 48 hours of what happened, all the divisiveness of the shooting, of the murder of Irina, the Ukrainian young lady. And so somebody may have said, you know what, screw you, Charlie, you've been going too tough, and came and took him out. Okay, that's one. Number two, it could be somebody that has been plotting to take out Charlie for a couple of years, and he's been planning for this because he's the opposing side. Okay, great. Number three, it could be a controlled opposition of somebody that's been funding it for this to happen, and they were trying to fund their patsy. Great. Number four, it could be in the next few days, Chris, if in the next few days, an opposing Charlie Kirk figure, I won't give names because I don't even want to put those names out there. If in the next week, an opposing person from the left gets assassinated, you have to know this is happening from an outside source, a different country that wants to see America have a civil war. We are having so many victories right now. So many things are happening that too many people are afraid. Too many people are respecting America again. Too many people are afraid of America again, like in a respectful way. These are some of the things I have. And by the way, I'm purely speculating, just like any businessman will do, any investor will do. I'm not, it's one or the other. I'm just saying, I wonder what it is, but those are some of the options.
It definitely strikes me that the person or people or organization that moved forward on this plot to assassinate Charlie Kirk didn't have an accurate understanding of how this event would unify the country. Because so many people witnessed this event, experienced the tragedy, saw what other leftists were saying online, which is vile and depraved, and will not be played on this podcast, and said, what? This is what you people stand for? And to think I aligned myself with you people at one point. Where are they going? Well, maybe they're going to see what Joe Rogan has to say. I don't know if anyone's had more lies told about them by the left than Joe Rogan. And then where does it go from Joe Rogan? Oh, maybe Dave Smith. Dave Smith, the libertarian comedian, has a lot of common sense perspectives. Or maybe it was foreign intelligence, intent on fomenting civil war in the United States. And they thought this was the ticket. This is what's going to get it done. We're going to take out beloved Charlie Kirk. And that will break the back of the conservative movement. I don't know if I want to play this next one because I feel like it's going to make me cry. Here's Kayleigh McEnany. She was Donald Trump's press secretary in his first term. And her thoughts on Charlie Kirk.
Charlie pointed up. He had this authentic, real love for Jesus Christ, and his conservative philosophy was an outgrowth of that. But he would go to these campuses. I would speak at his women's event, and he would speak to lonely people who were lost on social media, felt empty, felt depressed on college campuses, and he would give them hope in Jesus Christ. And the last thing I would say, Sean, is I know that I know that I know that I know this. Charlie Kirk did not die today. Yes, he left his body, but I guarantee you, when he took his last breath, the first words that he heard were Jesus Christ saying, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." I'm thinking of Erica. She's a beautiful, beautiful mom, a beautiful woman, beautiful writer. I'm thinking of his kids, but I know where Charlie Kirk is today, and he is very, very much alive. Charlie pointed up.
It reminds me of Star Wars. To not be too insensitive. When Darth Vader killed Obi-Wan at the end of the very first Star Wars movie, he said, "If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine." And let's assume this was, just for the sake of this argument, that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by some foreign intelligence apparatus. That maybe the assassin belonged to, or maybe he was manipulated into. We'll cover all of this at a later time. We should all be heartened to know that this has so far been the effect of Charlie Kirk's assassination. 18,000 new requests for TPUSA chapters. People want to start their own chapter of TPUSA in their town because of what happened to Charlie. As a direct result of the violence against him, people are motivated. And you should be motivated. If you're not. This piece from Stephen Miller should get you fired up. That's what he's good for.
And let me tell you something I'd not share with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us. And we are going to do that under President Trump's leadership. I don't care how. It could be a RICO charge, a conspiracy charge, conspiracy against the United States, insurrection, but we are going to do what it takes to dismantle the organizations and the entities that are fomenting riots, that are doxing, that are trying to inspire terrorism, and that are committing acts of wanton violence. It has to stop. And my message is to all of the domestic terrorists in this country spreading this evil hate, you want us to live in fear? We will not live in fear, but you will live in exile, because the power of law enforcement under President Trump's leadership will be used to find you, will be used to take away your money, take away your power, and if you've broken the law, to take away your freedom, Sean.
It's going down. It's happening. Sorry that was so quiet. It'll be fixed in the audio version. If you're watching the stream, you probably won't listen to the audio version. This has motivated more people than just 18,000 in the United States. Look at what happened in Britain. Over 1 million people. Eric Doherty writes on X. I don't know what this audio is. Oh, it doesn't exist. Feed from the helicopter in London, showing the streets filled with people protesting not only what's happening in the UK under Keir Starmer with their freedoms, but also what's happening with Charlie Kirk and the violence against the West. Here's another video shared from the ground. Streets packed with people. British flags everywhere. This has mobilized the common sense people in the West against the oppression from the radical left, from the Islamists that have allied themselves with the radical left for the explicit purpose of taking down the West. Hey, leftists, what do you think these? What's the caliphate going to do with you after you helped them take over the world? They're going to pat you on the back and send you on your way? Or are they going to bury you in the sand up to your neck and throw stones at your head until you pass away? It's a mystery, I guess. Keep helping them. Tommy Robinson spoke at the Make Europe Great Again event. A lot of people will turn to him in Europe and the UK now that Charlie Robinson is gone. Charlie Kirk, I'm sorry. Here's Tommy Robinson. Oh no. My fault.
If you're watching this,
Why
and
does
you're
he
from
keep doing that?
France,
Oh my God, you guys. Just never ends.
we've got politicians who have travelled from every country in Europe, pretty much, yet we can't find one. Don't kid yourself, so we've had a political revolution. If there was any member of parliament in there who represented the people truly, they would have come here today and spoke with you. Why? Some people may ask, we've got lots of European politicians here. We are uniting the kingdom. Today we've united this kingdom like no one has ever seen before. It's not just Britain that's being invaded. It's not just Britain that's being raped. Every single Western nation faces the same problem. An orchestrated, organised invasion and replacement of European citizens is happening. We, all of us, Europeans and Westerners, we have tolerated too much. They don't fear us if we're isolated. Unity is strength. I want to now introduce to you one by one leaders and leading politicians from some of Europe's best populist, real political parties. The future leaders of Europe are here today to inspire you about the fight that's going on in their countries. If you're watching this and you're from France, if you're from Germany, Poland, Spain, any other European country, we want to unite all the patriots of Europe together for a future where we fight together.
This is the message our enemies hate. That's why they lock up Tommy Robinson. And he's been locked up many times. And he refuses to go away. And they can't keep the message quiet anymore. Now we all know that this is a movement against the West. It's not a message. It's not a movement against the United States. It's a movement against the West. It's a movement against conservatism. It's a movement against Christianity. It's a movement against goodness. And you see thousands of people at vigils for Charlie Kirk. In Britain, in the United States. This is from New York. You saw millions of people mobilized in Britain, not just for Charlie Kirk, but also for freedom, for Western values, for Christianity, Catholicism. For the freedom to just be people. To be free from hate and from fear, from violence. Even in South Korea. Because even in South Korea, They're facing the same kind of hatred and persecution that we're facing here. That they're facing in France, that they're facing in Germany. And all of this hatred and all of this violence has so far only served to unite us against a common enemy. Is that what the assassins wanted? To bring more and more people across the world to unite people without a common language, without a common geography? Now, my feelings may change next week after I've gone to dissect some of the conspiracy theories, the facts that are further being exposed, more evidence, no doubt more conspiracy theories. But I think today we can take the silver lining that is this evidence of unification, of solidarity, in the message, with the message of goodness, with the message of decency, with the message of morality and freedom and liberty. More people have joined this movement because of this horrific event. So let's bring people together. Share this podcast with them. Give me a like, please. Subscribe. I need help with the marketing, people. Thank you again for joining me. We will be back here Sunday at 11 a.m. for the live stream on X, Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch. You can send me an email, therealearthvox @protonmail.com, and you can leave me a voicemail if you'd like. 701-787-1121. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I'll be back.